Let me tell you something most people won't. Life does not care about your excuses. It doesn't care where you were born, how broke you are, or how many people have doubted you. The odds may be stacked against you. But here's the truth. You can still win. The question is not whether you're talented enough or lucky enough. The question is, are you willing enough? Most people look at difficult circumstances and automatically assume defeat. They see obstacles, lack of support, criticism, and failure as signs that they should stop, that success is not meant for them. But those who win against all odds are cut from a different cloth. They don't deny that the odds are against them. They accept the reality, but they refuse to accept defeat. This is the first and most important mental shift you must make if you're going to rise beyond the limitations set by your environment, your upbringing, or your past. You don't need to pretend life is easy. You don't need to fake positivity or ignore the challenges in front of you. In fact, the strongest individuals are those who look their situation in the eye and say, yes, this is hard. Yes, the path ahead is uncertain, but no, I will not quit. That decision alone sets them apart from 98% of the population. George Bernard Shaw once said, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. This quote reveals a core truth that separates winners from losers. The refusal to be defined by current limitations. It's not about having the best cards in your hand. It's about playing the hand you are dealt with such relentless energy and strategy that you turn the game in your favor. You think about it. Some of the most inspiring success stories began with people who had absolutely nothing going for them. No wealth, no connections, no safety net, just hunger, vision, and grit. The difference wasn't in the external advantages they had. The difference was in their decision to fight when others would fold. To accept the odds is to be realistic. It's acknowledging that you may not have the same opportunities as someone else. You may have grown up in poverty. You may have been told your whole life that you're not enough. Or you might be facing daily rejection in your business, art, or career. But to reject defeat is to say, even though all this is true, I will not let it stop me. I will find a way, or I will create one. Winning against all odds doesn't mean pretending the odds don't exist. It means choosing not to be controlled by them. It means recognizing that although you might start behind, you can still finish ahead if you're willing to do what others won't. Work longer, believe deeper, fail faster, and rise higher. It's about choosing courage over comfort, resilience over excuses, and forward momentum over fear. This kind of mental toughness isn't built overnight. It's forged in the fire of adversity. Every time you get knocked down and choose to get back up, you train your mind to stop fearing loss. Every time you keep going when no one else believes in you, you condition yourself to rely not on validation, but on vision. And every time you take responsibility instead of blaming your circumstances, you move one step closer to becoming the kind of person who creates outcomes rather than waits for them. The truth is, many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they accept failure as the end instead of the beginning. They hear no and think that means stop. They face difficulty and assume it's a sign they're not good enough. But winners know that difficulty is not the enemy. It's the signal that you're on the right track, because anything worth having requires resistance. to shape you into the person who's capable of holding it. You will be tempted to quit. You will have days when nothing makes sense and everything feels stacked against you. But in those moments you must remember, your story is not over. The odds may be against you, but history has always favored the one who keeps showing up. Not the most gifted, not the most connected, the one who refuses to be defined by what they're up against. So, don't pray for the odds to change. Don't wait for life to hand you an advantage. Instead, choose this moment to draw a line in the sand and say, whatever stands in my way, I will outlast it, I will outwork it, I will win. Because the moment you accept the odds but reject defeat, the battle is already halfway won. Everything you want to accomplish in life, every dream, every goal, every breakthrough, starts in one place, your mind. When you are up against the odds, when everything seems to be working against you, the single greatest advantage you can develop is not money, not talent, and not luck. It's a mindset that cannot be broken. Circumstances don't determine the outcome. Your mindset does. Two people can go through the same pain, the same rejection, the same failure, and come out completely different. One walks away bitter and defeated. The other comes out stronger, wiser, more determined. Why? Because of how they chose to think. George Bernard Shaw once said, "Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." That's not just a quote, it's a warning. If your mind stays the same, your life will stay the same. If you keep thinking like a victim, you'll keep living like one. But if you can learn to rewire your thinking, to transform fear into focus and doubt into drive, then there is nothing the world can throw at you that you can. A bulletproof mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And like any muscle, it grows through resistance. Every time you face hardship and push through instead of giving up, your mental strength increases. Every time you silence the voice in your head that says you're not enough and replace it with "watch me prove you wrong," your resilience sharpens. You don't become mentally tough by having it easy. You become mentally tough by showing up when it's hard. The world is full of talented people who never made it. Why? Because their mindset collapsed under pressure. They were waiting for everything to line up perfectly before they moved. But winners don't wait for perfect. They move forward even when they're scared, even when they're uncertain, even when the odds say they shouldn't make it. Your mindset is your greatest weapon in a world that will constantly try to tell you who you are and what you can't do. When life hits you, because it will, it's not about how hard you get hit, it's about whether your mind is trained to get back up. When you're mentally strong, failure is not final. It's feedback. Rejection is not personal, it's redirection. Obstacles are not dead ends, they're detours to something better. The truth is, most people lose the battle before they even step onto the field. They lose it in their mind, they sabotage themselves. With doubt, comparison, fear, and hesitation, they look at their goals and think, "That's too big for me." Instead of thinking, "What kind of person must I become to achieve this?" If your self-image is weak, your actions will follow. But when your mind is unshakable, you can walk through fire and come out without a scratch. Developing this kind of mindset takes discipline. It means guarding your thoughts as carefully as you guard your money. It means eliminating negative self-talk and replacing it with empowering beliefs. It means feeding your mind daily with inspiration, education, and truth, because the world will feed it fear, limitation, and distraction if you don't take control. Ask yourself, What kind of thoughts dominate my mind each day? Are they thoughts of growth, power, and perseverance? Or are they thoughts of fear, weakness, and retreat? The quality of your life is a reflection of the quality of your thoughts. Change your thoughts, and you change your outcomes. One of the best things you can do to build an unbreakable mindset is to focus on who you are becoming rather than what you are achieving. Results will come and go. Wins and losses are temporary, but identity, that's what lasts. Start telling yourself, I am someone who doesn't give up. I am someone who pushes forward no matter what. I am someone who turns pain into power. When your identity aligns with your vision, your actions will follow. Remember, the odds may be against you, but your mind can become your superpower. No one can control your thoughts unless you allow them. The world can take your job, your money, even your comfort, but it can never take your will unless you hand it over. Don't give your power away. Don't let your mindset become your prison. Make it your launch pad. You can have everything working against you externally, but if you have strength, belief, and clarity internally, you will still find a way to win. Because the most dangerous person in the world is not the one with the most resources. It's the one who refuses to give up no matter what. Build that mindset. Feed it, train it, defend it. Because when the pressure hits, when the odds stack up, when the world says you can't, the one thing that will carry you forward is the voice in your mind that says, yes, I can, and I will. Rejection. It stings. It bruises the ego. It makes you question your worth, your direction, even your identity. But here's the truth most people never understand. Rejection is not a wall. It's a doorway. And if you want to win against all odds, you must learn to turn rejection into fuel. Most people take rejection personally. They hear no and assume it means never. They face failure and assume they're not good enough. But the ones who rise to the top, those who achieve what others only dream of, see rejection differently. To them, rejection is a message, not a verdict. It's feedback, not a final judgment. And more than anything else, it's motivation. Look at anyone who's done something great, and you'll find a trail of rejection behind them. J.J. Rowling was turned down by 12 publishers before Harry Potter saw the light of day. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. George Bernard Shaw had his early writings rejected over and over. These people didn't become legends because they were accepted quickly. They became legends because they refused to let rejection define them. When life says no, most people shrink. But winners lean in, they get curious. They ask, what can I learn from this? And how can I come back stronger? Because rejection, when harnessed correctly, sharpens you. It exposes your weak points. It humbles your ego. It tests your hunger. And that is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like one. You will be rejected. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The question is, what will you do after it happens? Will you sulk, complain, and give up? Or will you use it as a mirror to reflect, refine, and rise? That choice determines everything. Rejection can neither be the beginning of your downfall or the beginning of your transformation. It's the people who lean into the pain and channel it into purpose who win. They take the sting and convert it into strength. They don't let a closed door define their value. They build their own door. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting the journey to be smooth. They expect validation, applause, and a straight path. But the road to greatness is littered with no's, setbacks, betrayals, and moments where you're the only one who still believes in yourself. That's the test. That's the process. And that's where rejection becomes your ally, not your enemy. If you were never rejected, you would never evolve. You would stay the same. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and rejection shatters comfort. It forces you to ask deeper questions. Am I doing this for the right reasons? How can I get better? What am I truly made of? Those are questions comfort will never make you ask. When Shaw's early plays failed, he didn't walk away. He studied. He sharpened his voice. He tried again. Eventually, his plays didn't just succeed. They revolutionized theater. But it took failure to shape his style. It took rejection to clarify his message, and it will be the same for you. Here's the mindset shift. Rejection doesn't mean stop. It means redirect. It means there's something you need to improve, or a better path waiting, or timing that hasn't yet aligned. But none of those things mean you aren't capable. None of them mean you aren't worthy. They just mean you're still in process. And process is the price of greatness. So what do you do when you get rejected? You get better. You grow, you elevate, you train harder, you study deeper, you outwork everyone. I thought you'd quit. Because every time someone tells you no, they're giving you a piece of fuel. And if you collect enough of those rejections, stack them up and burn them, the fire that powers your comeback. Remember this, the people who reject you today may respect you tomorrow. The doors that close now may open wider later. As you keep building yourself in the dark, the world often says no until you're strong enough to handle the yes. You have to understand that success isn't built in applause. It's built in silence, in solitude, in setbacks. It's built when nobody is watching, and especially when nobody believes. Rejection gives you that space to craft, to grow, to prepare in private so you can explode in public. Do not run from rejection, run toward it. Let it teach you. Let it refine you. Let it humble you enough to keep learning, but never so much that you stop trying. Let it be the thing that proves just how badly you want this. If you want to win against all odds, you cannot afford to fear rejection. You must become the kind of person who sees it as a challenge, not a curse. You must say, thank you for the no. Now watch what I do next. Because in the end, it's not rejection that breaks you. It's what you believe about yourself when you hear it. If you believe you're done, you are. But if you believe you're just getting started, rejection becomes your greatest source of power. Success isn't built in one giant leap. It's built in the quiet, repetitive discipline of daily action. When people talk about how to win against all odds, they often look for some dramatic turning point, a lucky break, a miracle moment. But that's not how the real victories are won. The truth is this: consistent, ruthless action beats talent, beats luck, and beats even the harshest circumstances every single time. Most people wait. They wait until they feel ready, They wait until they feel motivated. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect idea, or the perfect conditions. But while they're waiting, someone else is working. Someone else is taking small steps every day, pushing forward even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when no one believes. There's a quiet power in daily action that most people overlook, because it's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it's lethal. One small action taken over and over again compounds into unstoppable momentum. You don't need to do 1,000 things in a day. You need to do one meaningful thing consistently without excuses. If you're serious about winning against all odds, you must adopt the mindset that your life depends on your ability to move forward every single day, no matter what, whether you feel like it or not, whether it's raining or shining, whether people support you or laugh at you, you show up and you do the work. That kind of action becomes a force. And once you build momentum, even the odds don't stand a chance. And let's be honest, most people don't fail because of a lack of knowledge. They fail because of a lack of action. They know what to do. They've read the books, they've watched the videos, they've attended the seminars, but knowledge without execution is wasted potential. You will never think your way into success. You must act your way there. Consistent action builds confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you do what you said you would do, your self-trust grows. You begin to see yourself as capable, dependable, and powerful. And that self-image drives even more action. That's how you break cycles of doubt and hesitation. You act your way out. But here's the key. Ruthless action doesn't mean being reckless or chaotic. It means being intentional, focused, and relentless in the pursuit of what matters most. It means cutting out distractions, eliminating excuses, and refusing to settle for almost. It means treating your time like your most valuable currency and protecting it with everything you've got. You don't rise by doing what's easy. You rise by doing what's necessary. That might mean waking up earlier, staying up later, or saying no to things that feel good now but cost you everything later. It means sacrificing comfort for progress. It means choosing discipline over distraction. Again and again until it becomes who you are. George Bernard Shaw said, "Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And creation is an act. It's work. It's showing up every day and carving out your future, one task, one choice, one step at a time. You don't find your path, you build it. Brick by brick, action. Even when nothing seems to be working, you must keep moving, especially then, because often progress is invisible in the beginning. Results take time, and most people give up in the gap between effort and outcome. But you can outlast that gap. If you can keep showing up while others are giving up, you'll reach a point where momentum takes over. You'll stop pushing and start being pulled by the force of your own consistency. The odds don't scare someone who knows they are doing the work. When you know you're putting in the hours, the focus, the energy, day after day. You build an inner certainty that no rejection, no failure, and no delay can destroy. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what gives you the edge. It's not about perfection. You will have days where you mess up, when you feel tired, when you question everything. That's part of the process. But what separates winners from everyone else is that winners keep going anyway. They don't let bad days become bad weeks. They get back up, reset, and recommit. Over and over again. Winning against all odds means becoming the kind of person who refuses to be outworked. Who takes action, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's inconvenient. Who gets comfortable being uncomfortable, because they know that's where growth lives. If you want to change your life, change your habits, change your routine, change your rhythm. Set the bar higher for yourself, and then meet it every single day. No fanfare, no applause. Just you and your mission. Because in the end, it's not what you say you want that matters. It's what you do. The world respects action. Life rewards effort. And the universe responds to persistence. So when the odds are stacked against you, don't just think. Don't just hope. Move. Take the next step. Make the next call. Write the next line. Train the next hour. Show up again and again and again. That's how you win. Not once, but every time. There will come a point in your journey when things don't go as planned, when everything starts to fall apart, when people turn their backs on you, when nothing makes sense. In those moments, your ability to adapt and adjust will determine whether you crumble or climb. Rigidity breaks under pressure, but flexibility, strategic focus flexibility, bends and survives. To win against all odds, you must learn to adjust without losing your purpose. Life doesn't care about your plans. It will throw chaos, betrayal, delays, and unexpected storms into your path. And while others waste time complaining about why it shouldn't be happening, you must train yourself to ask, what now? The people who rise are not the ones who never face setbacks. They are the ones who know how to adapt their approach without abandoning their mission. This is where most people fail. They fall in love with their method instead of their mission. They believe there's only one way to win, and when that way fails, they fall apart. But if you want to survive long enough to succeed, you must become a master of the pivot. You must learn how to shift strategies, shift energy, shift environments, whatever it takes, while keeping your core purpose unshaken. Adaptability doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you have no plan. It means you're aware enough, humble enough, and resilient enough to recognize when something's not working, and courageous enough to try something new. Winners are not stuck on pride. They don't cling to what's failing just to prove they were right. They let go fast. They change direction fast. And that speed of adjustment gives them the edge. Imagine a sailor at sea. The wind changes, the waves shift. If he refuses to adjust his sails, he doesn't reach his destination. He gets lost, or worse, destroyed. But the smart sailor watches the environment and changes course, not to abandon the goal, but to keep moving toward it. Your journey will be no different. The road you start on will not be the one you finish on. What matters is not the route, it's the destination. George Bernard Shaw once said, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." That truth applies especially when the odds are against you. If you're not willing to evolve, you will be replaced by someone who is. If you cling to outdated thinking or strategies that no longer serve you, you will fall behind while others pass you by. But this isn't about reacting emotionally to every setback. It's about adapting strategically. Winners don't panic. They analyze. They ask better questions. What can I control right now? What's the real obstacle? Where can I shift my energy to produce results? They stay rooted in the mission, but fluid in their movements. Maybe you launched a business and it's failing. Don't give up on the vision. Adjust the model. Maybe your relationship broke down. Don't give up on love. Learn, grow, evolve. Maybe your original career path didn't work. Don't abandon your ambition. Reposition your skills. Greatness doesn't come from never being knocked down. It comes from standing up smarter every single time. Sometimes life is not telling you no, it's telling you not this way. And if you're too stubborn to listen, you'll waste years pushing on a door that was never meant to open. Adaptability saves you time, spares you unnecessary pain. It allows you to fail forward instead of failing in place. This mindset also protects your energy. When you realize that failure is just feedback and detours are often the real path, you stop wasting emotional energy on things outside your control. You stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. That shift alone is powerful. It keeps you light, agile, and ready to pivot at any moment without fear. The world is changing faster than ever. Technology, culture, industries, even people's expectations are in constant flux. The ones who survive are the ones who evolve, not randomly, not desperately, but intentionally. They stay alert. They keep learning. They experiment. They test. They refine. They grow. You must develop this same hunger to grow. Read the signs. Listen to your results. Be willing to look at what isn't working and ask yourself, is it the dream that's wrong or the direction I'm taking to get there? Be honest enough to course correct. The sooner you adjust, the faster you rise. This is not easy. Adapting requires humility. It forces you to let go of control and admit you don't know everything. But in doing so, you gain something far greater. The ability to endure. The ability to outlast. The ability to transform when others quit. Think of the strongest people you know. They have been broken. They have been pushed back. But they adjusted. They didn't stay stuck. They found another way. And now they walk with the kind of quiet confidence that only comes from having been through it and survived. That can be you. If you choose it. If you're willing to flex without folding. If you're willing to pivot without quitting. If you're willing to change the plan, but never the purpose. Remember, storms don't stop the strongest ships. They reveal them. So when the odds shift, you shift smarter. When the road disappears, you build a new one. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be resilient. Keep moving, keep learning, keep adjusting. And above all, keep going. There's a moment in every journey, especially the one stacked against all odds, where the only thing left to do is endure. The noise will get louder, the pressure will rise, the doubts will multiply. But those who keep going, even when everything in them says quit, are the ones who earn their breakthrough. Success often goes not to the most talented, the most connected, or even the most prepared, but to the one who simply refused to give up. Persistence is the rarest form of power. It's not flashy. It doesn't always look impressive. In fact, it's often invisible to the outside world. But persistence is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the starters from the finishers. It's what builds legacies, shapes character, and shatters limits. The truth is, most people do fail because they lacked ability. They fail because they gave up too soon. The pain got too real. The setbacks got too heavy. The results took too long. They misread the silence of progress as failure. They misinterpreted delay as denial. But progress often hides in the quiet. Momentum builds beneath the surface. And if you stop too early, you'll never get to see the reward of your resilience. Winning against all odds requires more than passion. It requires stamina, mental stamina, emotional stamina, spiritual stamina. It requires waking up on day 30 or day 300 or year 3, still willing to fight even if you haven't seen the result you want. It means showing up to the gym, the desk, the stage, the practice field, not because you feel like it, but because you made a decision. And when your feelings scream, what's the point? You don't negotiate. You push forward anyway. The world tests everyone. It doesn't care about your intentions. It will ask one brutal question over and over again. How bad do you want it? And if your answer isn't backed by action, by consistency through discomfort, you'll be passed over by those who endured longer, because the reward isn't for the one who starts fast. It's for the one who finishes strong. Think of every great person you admire. They've all suffered. They've all been tested. Many were told they'd never make it. They heard the rejection. They felt the isolation. They carried the weight of being misunderstood, doubted, mocked. But they kept going. That's the secret they all share. They weren't just talented. They were relentless. People are always blaming circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. That kind of mindset doesn't quit when it's hard. It doesn't fold under pressure. It endures. It builds something from nothing. It keeps moving forward in darkness, trusting that light will eventually return. Persistence also transforms you. Every time you push past what you thought was your limit, your mind changes. You grow new strength. You build internal proof that you're capable of more. That confidence doesn't come from wins. It comes from withstandings. From the days you could have quit, but didn't. From the nights you cried, but kept going anyway. From the moments you were the only one left believing. Those days forge a different kind of success. One that's rooted not in applause, but in identity. You don't just win. You become a winner. And once that becomes who you are, no setback, no delay, no obstacle can take it away from you. That's the kind of transformation that outlasts motivation. That's the kind of strength that creates real momentum. It's also important to remember that persistence isn't about blindly doing the same thing over and over. It's about staying committed to the outcome, but flexible in your methods. It's about adjusting your strategy without abandoning your mission. True persistence is intelligent. It listens, it learns, it evolves, but it never backs down. You'll have moments where no one believes in you, where you question everything, where your energy fades. But you must plant your feet and remind yourself why you started. You must learn to be your own source of belief. You must feed your vision even when no one else sees it. Because if you quit, you'll never know how close you really were. Some of the most extraordinary breakthroughs happened just after people were about to walk away. But the ones who received those moments are the ones who decided to hold on just one more day, just one more hour, just one more rap. That's the power of persistence. It keeps the door open long enough for opportunity to arrive. You're going to face resistance. You're going to be tested. But if you can outlast your doubt, outwork your circumstances, and outlive the opinions of others, you'll reach a level most never do. Not because you were chosen, but because you chose to keep going. So when you're tired, remember the reason you began. When you're doubting, speak truth to your fear. And when quitting seems like the only option, remind yourself this is exactly where most people stop. And that's exactly why because you've decided that your destiny is worth the discomfort. Your vision is worth the wait. Your breakthrough is worth the battle.